Pharaoh. And we've got Monte on the line. Coach Brian Haddad, you take over here, and let's talk some WrestleMania, the Super Bowl of wrestling coming up.
We have finally reached the pinnacle of the wrestling season, the granddaddy of them all, if they will. WrestleMania 41 is upon us, and who better to have in here than our old friends? And I don't mean that by your ages. I mean our old friends. Monte and the Pharaoh, Long Island and Northwest Florida, and now what I hear, the country's #1 wrestling show. Welcome in, guys.
Is Mike there? Mike, are you there?
I am here, and I'm feeling good, guys. Thank you for that great introduction.
Mike, before we take off to the races, I heard that we're #1 in the country someplace. What? Can you fill me in? Can you help me here?
We are #1 in Zambia, and some people out there be like, Zambia? Do you know that Zambia is the 63rd largest populated country in the world with 29 million people?
Ooh, that's a lot.
I'll take things I did not know for $2 million, Alex.
There you go. At 29 million.
Wait a second. So I'm trying to draw a picture here. You'll find out that we're #1 in Zambia, and you hit the web, didn't you?
Oh, I hit the web.
We're 63. We're 63. I love it.
In the world.
I love it.
Okay,
I love
that.
it. Well, I think it's outstanding.
Mazel
And
tov.
look, Facebook, Cablevision, YouTube, definitely go back, check out the back catalog. Always great guests, always great content. Monte and the Pharaoh. But, guys, we have a stacked WrestleMania card that we got into, but I do want to start with one thing, and it always gets overplayed. Everybody overanalyzes this, but we had 2 extra weeks this year than we normally have. We had a big European tour right smack in the middle of the build to WrestleMania, which was great for crowd reactions and all, but you're talking about it kind of messed with the episodic viewing habits of people on the build. So what are your overall thoughts about the build to this year's WrestleMania?
I'm very excited about this year's card. This is a very good card this year for both nights. This was packed together very well. I think this has been a great build. I think that it was it different from what we're used to seeing as far as getting European shows in during the build? Yeah. Did it work? Oh, my God, yeah.
Yep.
The crowds were insane. It did nothing but make everybody look, and the storylines have been great, and the go-home shows were great.
Yes.
So what more can you ask for? Mike, it's a home run, right?
The wrestling fans, we always ask for more.
Yeah, well, I don't. I actually, if they
You're right.
Keep it simple, right? Mike, what do you think?
Jimmy, I can't agree more. I think going overseas with this just only invigorated WrestleMania and extending it. These crowds got me lit. I haven't been this excited for a WrestleMania in, I don't know, 10 years at least.
It's a very packed card, and it's really awesome watching the Cena heel turn, watching people who loved him for all those years. People I'm actually coming across, in person, and they haven't watched wrestling in a long time.
Yep.
And they're glued to this. They're glued to this. They want to see what happens with John. There's like so many different great stories that are happening on this very loaded WrestleMania, Coach.
Well, speaking of that, we've got a lot to get into, so time for our observations.
Thank you.
Not predictions, but observations going forward.
Observations.
Well, let's start with what has now been apparently announced will start and should start night 1. I think this was exactly the right call. Jey Uso taking on Gunther for the WWE Championship. Obviously, I'm willing to bet all of us believe they need to put Jey Uso over here just for him going forward, and we probably think they will, even though I also believe all 3 of us would really like to see Gunther retain. But what do we think is going to happen in this show opener?
I agree with you that I want Gunther to win, but I have to turn it over to Mike because, Mike, what did you say last night regarding the placement of this match on the card?
I had no idea this was the #1 match, and what I said last night, if it was #1, Jay was going to go over it. If
100%.
it was placed anywhere else in the card, Gunther was going to go over. So,
bingo.
I'm a little disappointed now because, again, we are Gunther fans, and I was looking forward to that. So,
Coach, how much damage do you think this does to the great sport of professional wrestling having Gunther lose? Is that a Mark question?
Yeah, it's a Mark question. No, I mean, look, obviously, if this were,
Gunther
completely
can get over this.
reality, it does not hurt Gunther to go down here. In fact, they'll they'll spin him off into a great story. Yeah. The guy can carry a match with anybody. Yeah. Jay kind of needs it. Now, how long this lasts with Jay, that's going to be more interesting to watch. But, yeah, I think they need to do this. This is their homage to the fans who love doing the yee. And, look, that's important.
So can I ask you both? Yeah. Can I ask you both a quick question, though? Mm-hmm. It opens up. Uso wins. How long does it take to calm that crowd down that you're going to your second match?
Well, I was going to say it depends what they put on second.
Main event Jey Uso is not main event, which is what I've been saying this entire time.
Yep. So you don't think he's worthy of a main event?
Heck no.
But yet the whole crowd is popping for him.
No,
what else
it's a good crowd moment, but I have a feeling that'll fizzle once he gets a belt. I really do.
Yeah, y'all thought this.
I agree with you. This is the only time I've ever liked Naomi.
Yeah.
Is now. But Jade needs to win this match. I feel like Jade is the one that needs to win this match. Going forward, the big plans are not going to be for Naomi. Naomi's a veteran at this point. She's been around a long time. You don't suddenly launch her into the next Becky Lynch or something. Everybody slow down. But Jade Cargill has the potential to be a big, big star in this business. And to cut her teeth first with a Naomi program is great. Yeah. Naomi is a great wrestler. I've never been a fan of her character, but in the ring, she's fantastic. And Jade needs work. And that's why we haven't seen Jade Bianca quickly. Yeah. Right, Mike?
Jimmy, great comments, man. Very hard to argue with any of those. And to help Jade along, this could be a great WrestleMania match for Jade. Naomi's great in the ring. And I do think that Naomi will go to greater heights. I do think a bloodline, female to the bloodline is coming.
That would work.
I agree. I'm going to take Jade here as well. I think if this match was night 2 and Bianca was night 1, I could see a case to where somehow Bianca gets involved and somehow costs Jade, but the way it's set up, I think Jade wins as well. The War Raiders versus the New Day for the Raw Tag Team Championships. I'm worried this is going to be the popcorn match of night 1, unless something happens that I have an outside feeling happens in this one. But what do we think, guys?
Whoa.
I'm saving it. I'm going last.
Huh. Very interesting. Well, as far as I'm concerned, the belts have to go on the New Day. Their heel turn was amazing, and this has got to be a payoff. Otherwise, why'd you do any of this? So the New Day have to win in my mind. The War Raiders, I've known them since the days of New Japan and when they were War Machine. And, yeah, that's nice, but your gimmick is kind of silly. I've never bought into the War Raiders. I just don't.
I get it.
It feels too comic book for me. So put the belts on the New Day. And I think, Mike, you mentioned that if they win, they tie the Usos, right? They're back to tying them all the time?
They're back to tying them all the time. And I agree with you, Jimmy, on this. War Raiders, here, hold the belts for a while because we've squashed you for the last 4 years. So we'll give you a little interim work. And, yeah, you're right. You can't have the New Day win by disqualification or lose because then it all just doesn't make sense. Yeah, so New Day all the way.
I would agree, except for the one outside possibility. The only way the New Day can lose and not be flattened if Big E involves himself somehow for a crowd moment.
Yeah,
that's
then what do you do? But then what do you do with Big E if he double crosses them and costs them the match? He's not competing.
Again, there have been a lot of rumors that Big E has been cleared.
So he's going to fight the two of them? I'm not that interested in that.
I don't know.
Why am I not interested?
Again, that's the only way I see the New Day being able to lose. And it would be a great crowd moment. Everybody would be behind
Of course it would be a great crowd moment. Well, what if Big E goes heel for the moment and helps them win?
That could happen as well.
Can I take that?
I want that. Have that one. That's a good one.
I mean, what's he got to lose anyway? He's good. Go back to your desk.
Look, I am not a super.
That's what started all of this. Go back to your desk.
That was a great line.
It was a great line.
I am not a huge fan of overly comedic wrestling, like the Santino Marella stuff. It wasn't my thing. Whatever. However, I cannot stop laughing every time El Grande Americano goes, Gracias! I can't stop.
Funny. It's ridiculous.
I'm actually looking forward to this match, and I don't think the payoff is this match. I think this carries forward to at least Backlash. some level of a mask versus mask match for Backlash.
I'm
telling you,
I can see that.
And if they could pull this off somehow to where El Grande Americano gets his mask taken off, and it's not Gable, would be hysterical.
Well, who is it?
It would be great. I don't know how you do it. But I think El Grande goes over here and they set up the return at Backlash and they pay it off.
What's he got, a twin brother like Kurt Angle or something like that?
It would be great.
Wow, interesting. Well, in all my...
It's Dave Hebner. That's who it is.
Yeah, there you go. Believe it or not, Mike convinced me that I should root for El Grande Americano to win this match. Mike, this is bizarre. What's going on here with El Grande Americano?
I'm telling you, El Grande Americano is over, man.
It's
over.
From the Gulf of America.
From the Gulf of America. Has he been...
It is so stupid. It's hysterical.
Well, that's his best quality, hasn't it? Always been that with
really
Chad Gable?
And he's so good in the ring.
You know what? Well, that's the shame.
We're overlooking him versus Rey Mysterio is going to be a heck of a match.
Like I asked Mike, though, I'll ask you. I asked Mike this on his show. Hey, do you think that Rey Mysterio is going to put over a mid-Carter for the last 10 years, probably, in Chad Gable? Because he's wearing a mask and calling himself El Grande. You
I don't think he should. I don't think he should. For me, as Rey Mysterio, he's a name,
right?
And this guy's coming in, and it's almost reminding me of when Hulk Hogan came back,
right,
with Mr. America or Captain America or whatever it was.
See, I told you.
But we need a heel to win because this is a night of faces, I think.
Okay, I'm going Rey Mysterio till I die, so it doesn't matter who's taking on Rey. I don't care if it's Dominic.
Okay.
I don't care if Eddie comes back. Give me Rey Mysterio.
We'll
get to Dominic, trust me.
All right, guys, you want to talk about something that has gone into the stratosphere in terms of interest?
Right here.
Yeah, because we'll save the triple for the next one. But Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair. Look, everybody's like, what if it breaks down? They're professionals, but I have a feeling this.
What do you mean breaks down?
They don't like each other. It's bad.
But let me tell you,
new Barbie doll in the aisle 8. Not wanted by old Barbie doll.
This match,
not good Barbie doll. Something else.
It's going to be hard to upstage the triple threat. This match could steal the show.
Yeah.
At least night one. So I'm very interested in this, although I honestly believe Tiffy has to go over here. Go ahead.
I don't. And Mike will run it by you too. But Mike, what I wanted to ask you, Mike, is that how do you feel the quality of the match is going to be? I believe that Charlotte Flair was not brought back for any reason, and Charlotte Flair is going to hold that title. Charlotte Flair is going to win. But Mike, what do you think about the quality of the match, and then your opinion on the result?
I think these two have done their best to try to change people's minds and kind of move themselves into the main event. They started off slow, and Jimmy and we had discussed, could this match be moved into a main event status? It has definitely moved into one of the premier matches, and I'm going to go with you and Coach. I think this might steal the night, and Charlotte and Tiffany will put on a great match. But I will say this, Coach, there is no way, and I will retire. I'm announcing it right now.
Don't start doing that. I need the extra scratch from the show. You're not retiring.
I feel like every 30 days you're finding a way to try to retire him.
All right, go ahead.
He retired when the bloodline stopped with Roman.
I think the way they need to go with this, guys, is Charlotte Flair needs to destroy her.
Yeah.
We were talking about it last night. Jimmy, take it over, what you were thinking last night.
Oh, that she basically beats her up for like 22 minutes the way Brock Lesnar beat up Cena. Oh. And really, because Tiffy herself has been said, Tiffy, listen to me, what a mark. Tiffy has been saying herself that, she's new. And she knows she's new. When Charlotte by the way, Charlotte's been able to cut her to pieces, pretty much show the awkwardness of a young
Certainly did the first time.
But Tiffy's made a good comeback there. I go with Tiffy again. My God, next thing you know, I'll be wearing a shirt.
Bro. I've seen her walk to that ring a couple of times.
But look, Charlotte was not brought back just to do a job for Tiffy. No way.
Okay. It elevates her. It does elevate Tiffany Stratton.
You know what? Also,
it's going to elevate her, but what about the chase of, the veteran? We've seen it in the...
I get it.
We've seen it in movies. The veteran beats that up-and-comer, and then the up-and-comer eventually...
It would truly take Charlotte to the nuclear heel level. It would. And that would be cool.
Hey, speaking of elevation, those banks over there at Talladega are highly elevated. Final one. Do want to remind you guys, though, that this is Braves country right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. And tonight for the Braves, they're taking on the Twins in Truist Park. It's actually going to be on Apple TV Plus, which means listen to this game right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Bryce Elder going for the Braves, going up against Chris Paddock for the Minnesota Twins. While we wait the call, I don't want to take any more time from you guys. Coach Brian Haddad, Monte and Pharaoh on the line with us.
Well, guys, we got to finish night one, and boy, what a match to do it. The main event of night one, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk with Paul Heyman in his corner. We'll throw a match that really could go any which way. Guys, what do we think's happening here?
I'm going to try not to overanalyze it or dream even bigger than what I'm seeing. I feel like for some inexplicable reason, Paul Heyman is going to leave with Seth Rollins, and Seth Rollins is going to win this match. Other than the one little hint that it's possible is the fact that Seth Rollins said, now you owe me a favor because I didn't curb stomp you.
Yeah.
It would also be a complete shock because everybody knows in the past that Roman has and Punk has been represented by Paul. So if Paul leaves with Seth, it's a great shock factor thing. You know, could feuds continue from it? Sure they could. Mike, I liked Mike's idea, though.
Okay.
Because Mike has something that I usually come up with that is just insanely over-the-top huge.
Let's go.
Mike, what do you say?
I'm calling for total anarchy. I'm calling for Drew McIntyre to come out along with someone, I don't know. Kevin Owens, I don't know if he's legitimately hurt. Yeah. But let's just say brings out a third. They get with Rollins, and they just start attacking Punk and Roman Reigns, and then here comes Brock Lesnar out of the back. And here we go. We've got the Dangerous Alliance, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, and off the races we go. And I'm going to stick with that, Jimmy. I'm just going to stick with it. I'm going to dream big on this one.
What I like about it, though, is that even though it is dreaming big, it is planted in firm history.
Oh, yeah.
Paul Heyman has had three great names that he's represented in this business, and those are the three.
Brock Lesnar,
CM Punk.
Yeah, if you really wanted to go
Reigns.
deep dive, somehow Cesaro comes back, but we'll say that.
Stop with Cesaro. It's like you brought Shep into the building when Curly is still spinning in circles. What is wrong with you? You don't do that. Oh, this is
all
horrible.
right, so I don't know about Lesnar. That would be so cool, but I think whether intentionally or not, somehow Paul Heyman costs Punk. And I do think we're going into a Punk and Roman program from here. That's what I think.
So he returns as the wise man and goes back to Roman, even though Roman just beat the living tar out of him.
I don't know how it happens.
Interesting.
But I do think we're going into a Punk Roman. So I'm going to take Seth to win.
Well, if Seth wins, he's leaving with Paul.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Can I ask you guys one? Is there a possibility that, because John Moxley's contract is up, it's done.
Oh,
is there a possibility Dean Ambrose shows up in the Shield reunites and they just beat up Punk?
I had a quick thought that
the very guy who
Rollins
invented...
and Punk might get going, but if oh my God, you want to talk about
if they beat up Punk, that would be a great storyline because Punk invented the Shield.
That's right.
Punk invented the Shield.
Be good.
Oh my God, I love that, Mike.
Oh my God.
Let's have it.
So guys, night two, we're going to skip over a few of the
bathroom break, like Liv Morgan tag team match. Bathroom break.
Exactly. That one makes no sense.
Is that a match?
Yeah, she's tag team champion. Bathroom break next, Coach.
Real quick.
Real
quick.
What you're saying. I thought they were going to be.
I don't want to spend a ton of time on this one, but Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, Penta, and Dominic Mysterio. I think I think this is another one where we would love Braun to go through because we're big Braun Breaker fans.
Yep.
But there's a lot of stories that could be told in this one. Let me throw one out at you. I think the crowd is murmuring for a Dominic win. I really do. I think they're starting to become. I think he could be the Chelsea Green.
Did you watch our show last night? I'm starting to feel like you watched our show last night.
The chicken bleep heel who everybody loves and hates.
Yeah,
I can't say the other
messy.
word.
Yeah, of course.
But
it's messy. Yeah.
I don't think that happens. I think they're setting it up. It looks like Dom's going to get it. The crowd reaches to a fervor. Finn costs him and takes the title and sets up a Finn Dominic program for Backlash. What do you guys think?
Well, we're on board with the Dominic stuff. I, for some reason, see... Look, Dominic is very young and has a long career to go. Okay, at some point, if Dominic is going to attain the heights of not his father, he's not patterning himself after his father. He's patterning it after Eddie Guerrero.
He is.
Okay, his uncle.
Yeah.
At some point in his career, he is going to have to do. He is going to have to do what Eddie did so great: play both roles great.
Yeah.
Be a great heel, which Dominic clearly already is.
I think he's starting
and be a
to
great
do it.
face. Now, here's how you make that go into overdrive, where it's instantly accepted. At least this is my feeling. Somewhere at some point during the match, you've got the faces that are in the match, the good guys, quote unquote, for this particular matchup.
That's
you
right.
have Braun Breaker and Penta are not available. They're knocked
That's
out,
right.
or they're brawling
That's right.
outside, or whatever. And Dominic has a moment where Balor is down and pinnable. Dominic stops, looks at the crowd. The crowd is going to be saying to him,
Yes.
"Get him!
Yes.
Do it!
Yes.
Do it!" And he'll look at them a few times and he'll go, "Should I?" And the crowd will be. The guy's had the most nuclear heat we've seen in
That's
years.
right.
Yeah.
And the crowd will be begging him, go up there, hit Finn Balor, your
Yep.
teammate, who we hate even more in some
Right.
ways when you think
But
about
are
it.
they still teammates?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
And
I
if
didn't
he
know.
gets to that top rope and does what the fans want him to do at that moment and hits the Eddie Guerrero frog splash and wins the title,
Five-star frog
guess
splash.
who's a
Let's
face
go.
now?
Oh, yeah, it'd be big.
Although to me, he's a face. That's it. You've accomplished it. Let's see what you could do with
I
it.
just-
Keep Liv by your side,
I have
by
a
the way.
feeling they're
Yeah.
paying it off later, but I love that. Go ahead, Mike.
Hit it.
Jimmy, you convinced me just now, and you convinced me last night. I really do think that's going to be the finish.
It
The
should
only
be.
worry I have is how does a face like Dominic, who gets beat every night,
Liv will help
like
him.
survive as Intercontinental Champion? And if he does turn a face, does Liv turn on him and go with Finn?
No, you know what? That's interesting, but I wouldn't do that because Dominic still needs to have some support as he ascends. So I would keep Liv with him, and they are very lovable together. Let's face facts.
All right, guys, women's triple threat. A lot of multi-person matches in this, which sometimes scares me. But, boy, another one could be a monster of a match. I got worried for a second they were trying to set Io Sky up as the Daniel Bryan in this scenario, as kind of the little engine that could against the monsters.
Yeah.
But we've got Io Sky, we got Rhea Ripley, we got Bianca Belair. I think they're going to put Bianca over here, but the only person I can't see winning this match, if you can believe it, is Rhea Ripley.
That's interesting. I'm thinking Bianca too, and I'm pretty sure, Mike, we discussed this last night. You're leaning that way as well.
I am leading that way, absolutely.
Yeah, it makes the most sense to me. I mean, Rhea's not going to lose nothing from not winning this match. Not nothing. And Io, to me, it's already a rub that you're in this match.
I think they've told a nice little sub story in this bit that Io has never lost to Rhea. I think that's a really neat story they can pay off for years.
Yeah, they could.
And look, Rhea and Bianca could go into a program without the title. They don't need it, but I think that's what we want to see. But I'm still not convinced Bianca doesn't somehow turn heel in all this, but I do think she's going to go over.
I feel like Bianca is destined to become a heel, but she's also destined to be a champion again. So
I think that's the end goal, guys. You know, Jade, Bianca are going to cross paths.
That's right.
And Bianca will be the heel. So yeah, you've got to give her the title, and somewhere along the line, her and Naomi are going to make up. And it's the writing's on the wall. So smart move is Bianca.
just don't ever have her cry again because it's soap opera bad. Go on.
I love
horrible.
it. All right, we've left ourselves some time for the main event of the show. And look, we can see it. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cena going for historic number 17, but we've got subplots everywhere. Is Stone Cold going to show up? Who is the third man? Will Cody get his receipt on Travis Scott? There's all kind of storylines here. Guys, how does this play out?
John Cena walks out as 17-time world champion. Because Randy doesn't have a match, and if they don't put him in the ring with Magnus, which I would actually be happy with that if that was a surprise thing.
Nick Aldis for new fans.
Nick Aldis
That's
for
right.
new fans. If they did that, fine. But to me, I feel like Randy Orton is going to RKO Cody Rhodes and help John win. And then you owe me a favor, John. What is the greatest rivalry of John Cena's time? His feud with Randy.
Long term, certainly Randy.
That is his
Yeah.
foil and always has been. So I would find it very poetically, historically cool if Randy does help him win the title, basically look at him, roll out of the ring. You know, you've got Cody back to being the chaser, because that is the beauty of what made the payoff for Cody fans so great when he finally did beat Roman Reigns. He chased him. He lost the first time. Yeah. Took a full year to chase him. And now you got John, and John's not being brought back to not pass Ric Flair.
Correct.
So, to me, logically, it goes that way. Mike, what do you got on the great John Cena?
I got to go with that. I just don't know how they're going to get off of, hey, I'm taking the belt and going home. I will put a different swerve in it. I believe John Cena Sr. will be in the front row. And he'll take his wig off, throw it in the ring, and Cody will trip on it.
Wow. Nice.
Look, nice. I want to say the craziest scenario that could be the third man is Mama Rhodes. Oh, it would be great.
Mama Rhodes is very...
Oh, my God, it would be great if she turned on him. But no, here's what I think. I think Jimmy actually kind of pushed me over the edge here with this. I think somehow The Rock does try and get involved. I think that is where Stone Cold will make an appearance, neutralizes The Rock. But out of nowhere, here comes Randy.
Yeah.
RKO's Cody, looks at John, and gives John the win, and then the payback. You know, you talked about how does John not walk up in the sunset? Yeah. You owe me Backlash, where I'm on the poster in my hometown.
Bingo.
There we go.
That's why I smell Randy. That's why I smell Randy coming, and it would make the most sense in this moment.
I agree.
It's the only time I've ever rooted for Cena, too. I absolutely love how he's played the villain. He has hit a home run.
Oh, 100%.
Period. The build-up is great. We started by asking about the build-up. The build-up's been amazing.
But what's been great, and we haven't been able to talk about this since the Cena heel turn, the thing that is always great about a heel turn is when they lean in on truth. Mm-hmm. Everything he said about the fans has been true for 20 years.
Of course it has.
They screamed, "You can't wrestle. John Cena sucks." All of the stuff. It was beautifully, beautifully done. And I got to say, Cody Rhodes has stood his own against him when I thought he would crumble.
Yep.
He's fired back, too. This has been a wonderful setup to a match.
In 5 seconds or less for each, in 5 seconds or less for each of you, bold prediction from WrestleMania. Well,
I guess mine's Big E.
All right.
Randy helps John break Flair's record.
Ultra Fire cervical care pillow.
Look, we can see it. Cody Rhodes versus John Cena for the undisputed WWE Championship. Cena going for historic number 17, but we've got subplots everywhere. Is Stone Cold going to show up? Who is the third man? Will Cody get his receipt on Travis Scott? There's all kind of storylines here. Guys, how does this play out?
John Cena walks out as 17-time world champion. Because Randy doesn't have a match, and if they don't put him in the ring with Magnus, which I would actually be happy with that if that was a surprise thing.
Nick Aldis for new fans.
Nick Aldis for new fans. If they did that, fine. But to me, I feel like Randy Orton is going to RKO Cody Rhodes and help John win. And then you owe me a favor, John. What is the greatest rivalry of John Cena's time? His feud with Randy.
Long term, certainly Randy.
That is his.
Yeah.
Foil and always has been. So I would find it very poetically, historically cool if Randy does help him win the title, basically look at him, roll out of the ring. You know, you've got Cody back to being the chaser, because that is the beauty of what made the payoff for Cody fans so great when he finally did beat Roman Reigns. He chased him. He lost the first time. Took a full year to chase him. And now you got John, and John's not being brought back to not pass Ric Flair.
Correct.
So, to me, logically, it goes that way. Mike, what do you got on the great John Cena?
I got to go with that. I just don't know how they're going to get off of, hey, I'm taking the belt and going home. I will put a different swerve in it. I believe John Cena Sr. will be in the front row. And he'll take his wig off, throw it in the ring, and Cody will trip on it.
Wow. Nice.
Look. Nice. I want to say the craziest scenario that could be the third man is Mama Rhodes. Oh, it would be great.
Mama Rhodes is very...
Oh, my God, it would be great if she turned on him. But no, here's what I think. I think Jimmy actually kind of pushed me over the edge here with this. I think somehow The Rock does try and get involved. I think that is where Stone Cold will make an appearance, neutralizes The Rock. But out of nowhere... Here comes Randy.
Yeah.
RKO's Cody, looks at John...
Yep.
And gives John the win, and then the payback. You know, you talked about how does John not walk up in the sunset? You owe me Backlash, where I'm on the poster.
Thank you.
In my hometown.
Bingo.
There we go.
That's why I smell Randy. That's why I smell Randy coming, and it would make the most sense in this moment. For sure.
I agree.
It's the only time I've ever rooted for Cena too. I absolutely love how he's played the villain. He has hit a home run.
Oh,
period.
100%.
Period. The build-up is great. We started by asking about the build-up. The build-up's been amazing.
But what's been great, and we haven't been able to talk about this since the Cena heel turn, the thing that is always great about a heel turn is when they lean in on truth. Everything he said about the fans has been true for 20 years.
Of course it has.
They screamed, "You can't wrestle. John Cena sucks." All of the stuff. It was beautifully, beautifully done. And I got to say, Cody Rhodes has stood his own against him when I thought he would crumble.
Yep.
He's fired back, too. This has been a wonderful setup to a match.
In 5 seconds or less for each, in 5 seconds or less for each of you, bold prediction from WrestleMania. Well, I
guess mine's Big E.
All right.
Randy helps John break Flair's record.
And what about you?
Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, Mike wins.
There you go. And if it happens, what will Paul Heyman do if he's got to represent two people?
No, it would be three.
Three, yes. CM Punk, it would be Roman, it would be,
Honestly, that would be incredible.
Yeah.
Jimmy, it would be like the picture where they took the mask off El Grande Americano, and it turns out it's Vince McMahon.
We're going to the memery of the social media.
Check out Monte and the Pharaoh.
Yes, please do that. Make sure that you check those guys out. They are all